So, George Weissman. George Weissman is going to tell us some more about brown glass. That's good.
Yes. It's very good to be here. I most sincerely thank Professor Pollack. You've done amazing work. And to be in this venue speaking about the Brown's gas is a great honor for me. As I said yesterday, I am a cowboy. When I grew up, I learned to pretty much fix anything I needed to know. I learned as I went to school. I took all the advanced physics and math and all that kind of stuff, things you don't usually learn on the farm. But I learned how to make things, how to fix things, in order to do that, you have to understand what it is that's actually happening. And I've learned so much even in this venue. For the decades that I've worked, just in the last couple of days, I've learned even more. I'm very grateful. So, in addition to teaching what Brown's gas is, as far as my theory is concerned, I'm also teaching showing the practical applications of the gas. I'm the kind of guy who doesn't just work with theory. I try to make the theory work in real life. So, what is Brown's gas? Generally, the entire mixture of gas evolving from an electrolyzer that is specifically designed not to separate the gases into hydrogen and oxygen. So the first theory that we came up with is Faraday, you only have hydrogen and oxygen. Unfortunately, we discovered that we were getting too much gas. For the amount of electricity going into the machine, there was far too much gas, about 60% too much gas. So I came up with a theory, okay, well, maybe the gas, when it's separating from water into HHO, the hydrogens and oxygens are not recombining. That would explain the extra gas, but no, that didn't work. We had the gas analyzed, and then that didn't work. Chris Ekman came up with Rydberg clusters, which was not too far off, and Ruggero Santilli came up with a thing called magnecules. But I found what I call electrically expanded water, which actually is, some of these lectures are coming into the same sort of a thing. So back in 1996, I had this very small transparent electrolyzer that I developed, and I was actually able to look in the cells and see what was happening, and I saw something that I'd never seen before, and it changed everything. So what's happening is on the cathode side, we're developing the hydrogen. On the anode side, we're developing the oxygen, just like you would normally think. But right in the middle of the cell, a third gas is being formed. And I call this electrically expanded water. So the electrically expanded water is the unique thing about Brown's gas. It's what makes Brown's gas unique from bottled hydrogen and oxygen. The electrically expanded water is a gaseous form of water, as you'll see in a little bit, that is formed from water in these electrolyzers. So what we have for the constituents, in any water-based system, you're going to have some water vapor. We are seeing some monatomic oxygen and monatomic hydrogen. Most of the gas is the diatomic oxygen and hydrogen, but then we get the electrically expanded water. The electrically expanded water is water that has soaked up electrons until it's become a gaseous form of water that is not water vapor or steam. It's a plasma form of water, negatively charged plasma. So Stanley Meyer, who had drove vehicles on a water mixture and stuff, had a similar type of way of describing the gas in his models here. This is the Chris Ekman stuff where they were saying what his idea was that it would separate the bond angles of the water. I haven't tested that myself, but I thought I would throw that up there just to be a complete explanation. Okay, so here we have a wet mixture. So you've got mostly hydrogen on the one side. I don't know if it's got a laser on it. That's nice. So over here, in some of them, you can see there's a slight amount of monatomic hydrogen and then mostly diatomic. But right here is the unique portion of it. You've got your hydrogen, you've got your oxygen. But here you have the water vapor. And in this particular case, it is mostly water vapor. But when we dry the gas, we end up still having the water vapor. You can't see it very well in this particular thing here, but the water vapor is still there. So you can see in this one you can see better the monatomic hydrogen and the monatomic oxygen, but the water vapor is still there, even though it's not vapor anymore. This is a dried gas. So that's where the proof for the electrically expanded water. It's a plasma form of water that is not water vapor. And also interesting, when they do gas analysis, 7% of the gas, the analyzers can't even analyze. They don't even know what it is. But you don't see those sort of things in bottled hydrogen and oxygen. So, and then the chromatographs of the various molecular structures that happen in the gas. So another thing that we discovered, obviously if you have electrons in the gas and you burn it, the electrons are freed. And this is a characteristic that really helps in a lot of different applications. And in this particular case, we're measuring the amount of electricity that can be gathered from the flame as it's burning. So, again, the Brown's gas is specifically the hydrogen, oxygen, water vapor, and electrically expanded water made by electrolysis in an electrolyzer, specifically designed not to separate the gases. If you put a membrane in the middle, where electrically expanded water, EXW, is formed, then it will not form. So Faraday never saw this. In all the Faraday, 100 and some odd years ago, he didn't see these sort of things. So other names of Brown's gas, William Rhodes called it common ducted gas. Some people called it Rhodes gas. He was the first one that made a patent for this single ducted gas. And we generally call it HHO, hydroxy, or Brown's gas. So knowing what Brown's gas is helps us design electrolyzers that make a higher quantity and quality of gas. We want as much of that EXW as possible. And it helps us discover and develop amazing applications for the gas. So now that you have an idea what Brown's gas is, we go into helping the world with the gas. What can it do? We have theory, but I'm not just a theory guy. Let's actually make practical applications. So we found many practical applications, but I'm just one person, and even a cowboy has limits. So I started with onboard electrolyzers because one of my trades is automotive technician, and I was able to increase the efficiency of combustion of vehicles. I also built large electrolyzers to make the gas replace acetylene and other torch fuel gases, and then more recently the tabletop electrolyzers for health application. This is my brother with his Hyzor system, which is on his particular Dodge Dakota truck, it got a 30% increase in mileage. So the onboard electrolyzers can help the vehicles increase their mileage. As everything you see, it cuts harmful emissions to almost zero. It increases the power and performance. Engines last significantly longer because it cleans them out. The carbon buildup isn't there. The combustion is very clean. One of my pet peeves has always been what's called the catalytic converters, because I feel that burning the fuel in the engine is a much better idea than burning it in the exhaust. That's what this type of technology helps do. There's myself with one of our early machines that replaces the torch fuel gas. So I was able to build machines that were half the size and weight of the machines that were available at the time, and produce the same volume of gas with half the electrical power. Again, if you understand what is going on, then you can build better machines. So the Brown's gas flame is very laser-like. It's long and laser-like. It's actually an exploding, imploding flame. It explodes first, it has a flame, but then it shrinks. When it shrinks to water, from a gas form to a water form, it shrinks 1,800 times. So it's literally making a hole in the air, a vacuum, and the air pressure itself holds the flame long and thin as the flame is constantly making a vacuum, and so it ends up being long and thin. It's a relatively cool flame. It only radiates at about 274 degrees Fahrenheit or 129 degrees Celsius. And so you can have it right close to things and it will not burn. You can wave your hand through it, it doesn't burn. If you're using it for a torch, you just simply turn it on and adjust the volume of gas you want. It's already a perfect stoichiometric mixture, 2 parts hydrogen to 1 part oxygen. And it uses no atmospheric oxygen. It produces no toxic fumes, no harmful radiation. It's one of the only gases that's allowed down in deep mines when they're doing work down in there. So the exhaust is just pure water. And in ships too, when they're doing a lot of work at the ships. Now here I'm holding the torch tip, which you would never do with an acetylene torch. Usually when I'm doing the demonstrations, I even put a piece of tape around the torch tip so that people can see that the torch tip does not get hot. And the flame, this is a misconception out there. When they think, okay, you can wave your hand through it so it's this temperature and you put it on tungsten, it goes to 5,000 degrees centigrade. The torch and the flame does not. The material does. So here, the flame doesn't boil water and it condenses, and the new water is the exhaust. And the new water is an entirely different subject I can't even get into right now, but it's absolutely astonishing the things that can happen with new water. The brazing is extremely simple, easy to do, and you can adjust quickly just by moving the torch in and out when you're brazing and welding. You can adjust the amount of power that's going into it. Essentially, think of it as an electrical flame. You're actually putting these electrons right into the material that you're welding or soldering or whatever. So that these are types of things that the flame itself can do. So the Brown's gas is very, very useful in this particular application. So other proven uses, they have neutralization in seconds. They can neutralize concentrated radioactive waste. I haven't seen a way to neutralize, using the gas or this technology, ambient radioactive materials, but concentrated materials, you can get a 97% reduction in practically seconds using a technique that Yule Brown discovered and was using. And this has been proven by even government agencies. The creation of semi-precious stones, now we're talking amorphous, not crystalline, but when you cook the various materials, you can actually make rubies and sapphires and emeralds and things like that. And moonstone from feldspar. Feldspar comprises about 30% of the Earth's crust, and you can actually use this gas to make bridges, for example, out of the stone that would never break or wear or anything. The moonstone is stronger than steel, and if it's pure, it actually is transparent as well. So you could actually make transparent bridges, or buildings, or that sort of thing. Ore and mineral. When you cook the ore with the Brown's gas, you can get more metal from the ore than you could before. One particular copper ore that we cooked got 3 times more copper. You cook the same amount of ore, but you cooked the one sample with the Brown's gas, you got 3 times more copper from the copper ore. So there's a huge use there where a person could go back to old mine sites, and all the tailings ponds and everything where they have gone through the processing plant already, you could cook that and actually get 1 or 2 times more metal out than you originally did. And then quartz and glassware manufacturing is another really good use for it. They were already using hydrogen oxygen gases for these type of thing, but this is really easy to do. So the health applications. This is where I'm concentrating now, and it's absolutely astonishing. When I first got into Brown's gas, I did not believe that it could do what it does. I didn't have any clue that there would be a health application. I was using the gas for combustion, in combustion for fossil fuels enhancement or combustion in a torch. But for some reason, some of my customers, and one in particular I'm thinking of in 1996, actually bubbled the gas through water, and I have no idea why. And then he put that gas, bubbled water, on a melanoma on his forehead. And that melanoma was gone. He kept changing out his bandages. In 3 weeks' time, it was gone. And it just so happens that that has been duplicated here, like that experiment has been done again in Germany recently. So but I didn't believe him. I didn't believe that particular customer when he told me this. But being the open-minded person that I am, not really, I did tell other people about this potential application, health application, and many of my other customers, which I had thousands by then, started bubbling and reporting back to me. So from 1996 to 2005, I gathered hundreds of testimonials of people who were telling me about these amazing health benefits of the gas. And so in 2005, I decided to do it myself. And so, like I say, and then from 2005 to 2007, I saw a big gain in my health. I didn't get sick in those winters. So I thought, okay, that's good. And I made a tabletop version of the machine, and we started the health application. And so one of the things that people did is they started feeding it to plants. And they found that with regular plants in dirt, if they're fed this water, they'll grow 3 times faster in the same, 3 times more in the same amount of time. And if you do it with hydroponics, they grow 10 times more in the same amount of time. And it's very dose dependent in that the more of the hydrogen that's in the water, the faster the plants grow. And it makes perfect sense because most of us, including plants, all water-based life forms, are mostly hydrogen by volume. So it's our major macronutrient, and it's been totally unknown to medical science all this time. So fish is another one. You can see the 2 fish side by side there. They were grown in 2 separate aquariums. One was bubbled with the Brown's gas water, or Brown's gas, and one was bubbled with just ordinary oxygen, like a regular aquarium, and otherwise identical, and the fish grew 3 times faster, or 3 times bigger in the same amount of time. So you could, it's absolutely astonishing. This is when I started breathing, now, up until 2007, in 2007 and until 2016, my customers were saying, okay, we can drink the water, can we inhale the gas? And I was saying, no, this is a combustible gas. I don't want anybody's lungs blown out on the walls. So but I didn't realize until December 2015, when a customer sent me a video of a Korean hydrogen bar where they were using Brown's gas, and people go in, buy a cup, like we buy a cup of coffee, they would go and buy Brown's gas treatment. And I realized something I should have known, is if you mix the gas with enough air, it keep the hydrogen content under 4%, then it's perfectly safe to breathe and inhale. So in March of 2016, I started inhaling. That's what I looked like then. This is what I look like now. So, and that video's online. So my current mission is to help people regain and maintain health using this specially treated and reformed water. As I was saying before, we're mostly hydrogen, 62% by volume, not by weight. Hydrogen's a very light molecule, but by volume. So, in my experience now, people are sick, aging, and dying from dehydration. Literally, not enough hydrogen. Brown's gas actually helps bodies heal. It doesn't heal itself, by itself. It's not a drug. It's a nutrition, it's a food. And what happens is you give the body what it needs, and the body heals itself. So people using Brown's gas heal quickly, seldom get sick, and regain and retain a youthful appearance and vigor. So the traditional health industry has been missing the importance of hydrogen for centuries, and now the hydrogen industry that's coming up is still missing the importance of the electrically expanded water. The electrically expanded water, again, we have a situation where, yes, you're getting the hydrogen, and that's good, but you also need the electrons, the bioavailable energy. People who are sick generally have compromised energy generation systems and or have depleted their energy reserves. So when you give the electrically expanded water, which is a bioavailable form of electrons, with the hydrogen, everything happens quicker. So just a quick medical disclaimer. So here's a partial list of the ailments that have been reported mitigated with hydration, and the items with the stars. And I'm just going to go through these really quickly because I want to leave a bit of time for questions as well. So it's just a... I have quite a story about the libido thing. So what happens as you are, when you're deficient in hydrogen, the first thing the body does, everybody's aware that when you're getting cold, a hypothermia, the body can shut off blood flow to the extremities to preserve core temperature. Our bodies are amazingly designed to preserve life. So when you're not getting enough nutrition of one kind or another, in this case hydrogen, the body shuts off what it considers to be non-immediately life-threatening systems, like your regeneration system, stem cells, things like that. And then you still don't have hydrogen, it starts shutting off immune systems, so people get sick. And then you still don't have enough hydrogen, well then the organs start to die. And then you die. So when I started inhaling the hydrogen, I'd been drinking the water, now you could see, from 1996 I was told that there was health benefits, but I didn't start drinking the water until 2005. I didn't start inhaling the gas until March of 2016. So as you can see, I think I'm open-minded, but I'm not really. So in any case, I'm trying to convince people this is a good thing, and part of it is what happened to me. Okay, so when I started inhaling, or when I was drinking, I just simply didn't get sick. But I was still losing my hair, I still was developing neuropathies, I had my warts, my scars, all these kind of things, tinnitus. And when I started inhaling, all of those things started to go away. So I had a heart murmur, and the heart murmur went away. So my organs were healing. I had warts, which are a virus. All my warts went away. So my immune systems kicked back online to something I hadn't had. I'd had the heart murmur and warts since I was a child, and most of my scars as well. I grew up on a cattle ranch. We cut ourselves, broke bones, all these kind of things from time to time. So I had all of these things from childhood. And yet, as soon as I started inhaling the gas, my heart murmur went away, my heart was stronger, my immune systems got strong enough to get rid of all the warts. I had hand warts and a plantar's wart, they just disappeared. And as far as the organs go, I had neuropathies on my legs and hand, and I have full feeling back in all of that, pain-free. My arthritis is gone, I have full functionality and strength. And this last thing was my scars disappeared, and I found that to be absolutely amazing. It's something that no other technology out there is claiming, is that the scars disappear. And I've not only on myself, but a lot of the other people that are inhaling, the same thing is happening. In fact, one guy who works with us had a motorcycle accident, and most of the skin on his arm had been taken off, and he had terrible scars. And the scars are completely gone, and now even the skin tone is coming back. You can see the whiteness of the skin, new skin, but now even the skin tone is coming back, and I'm thinking by next year, you'll never even know he ever had a scar on his arm. It was that. So but the results will vary. This is my disclaimer. Every body is different. Literally, every body is different. So how it affects you personally is going to be different. This is the machine that I've developed over years of time, and I'm pretty proud of it. It's a good machine, the AquaCure. So the Brown's gas hydrates, as in giving the hydrogen to living bodies better than any other known technology, because it's not just hydrogen, it also has the electrically expanded water. And that's the main thing I'm trying to teach today, is about the electrically expanded water. It's that gaseous form of water. It's actually water, but it's not water vapor or steam. It's soaked up water that's soaked up electricity until it's become a gaseous form. It's a plasma form of water. So, questions? Thank you. Anything can fail. But I try to design my machines. That's one thing about growing up on a ranch. Anything that would break, I would try to figure out why it broke and make it better so it wouldn't break again. Because I like to be able to just use tools. I didn't want to have them. So that's the way we designed our machines as well. So they have a lifetime guarantee. Sure.
Thank you, George, for a fascinating presentation. So when we do an experiment with two electrodes, I was just describing at the end of the last presentation, what we find is that EZ grows from one electrode and the protons grow from the other. At the center, you have a mixture of those two. So at the risk of sounding like a guy who has only a hammer and everything looks like a nail, I'm wondering whether it's possible that your so-called expanded water is actually a combination of EZ water and protons. When the two are together, the amount of energy is enormous. And when the two combine, they form water. And so I'm wondering whether there's any possibility whatsoever that what you call Brown's gas is actually a combination of negatively charged EZ water plus protons, which when they combine, they release an enormous amount of energy, and that energy could be used for healing. Just wondering.
Yes, I watched that last lecture with fascination as far as the blobs going out and stuff like that. That was one of the things I was learning. And yes, I want to experiment and find out exactly what it is about that. We know the gas exists, we can measure it physically, but we still need to learn more about it. And in Germany here, actually, there's some people who have developed technologies that can actually look at the gas in a gaseous form and as separate from water vapor. As you saw, the spectral analysis shows it as water, because it is water, but it can't show it with the extra electrons or energies. And now they're developing technologies where we can do that. And fortunately, I'm in a group that of scientists and people who don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. A lot of scientists say if we can't measure it, it doesn't exist. But in our group, we say, okay, we see it exists, now let's figure out how to measure it. Thank you.
Thank you very much for a very beautiful lecture. What if you compress this gas? What happens?
Oh, don't compress the gas. It contains its own energy already, like electrostatic energy, and if you compress it, it will explode. Okay? Even if, like, you know how electrical charges form on the edges of sharp edges or points, okay? Static electricity, if you put a very sharp needle in the gas, it will explode the gas, because the electrical energy in the gas will concentrate on the needle and come down. Again, everything looking like a hammer. It's probably EZ zone type technology that's going. So anyway, we use the gas on demand. We make it and use it. We don't compress it. We don't put it in storage containers, unfortunately.
Can it be used as a fuel in this case?
It can be used as a fuel. I have run engines on it. In fact, one of the reasons I got into the Brown's gas originally is because I was trying to figure out a way to make engines run on water. But I haven't yet figured that.
Not inflammation, but compression.
Yes, you can do it. It runs fine in a diesel engine, for example. Yep.
Okay. I wanted to ask you following. You told that chronic infections like Lyme disease can be healed with this therapy.
Yes.
Which proofs do you have that the germs really die?
Okay. First of all, the gas itself doesn't kill any germs.
Yeah.
If anything, it's as healthful for the germs as it is for the people. So because again, the germs are made of the hydrogen as well. What the gas does is increase the body's own immune system. And the immune system then kills the germs. So, and the proofs are, they have over 1,200 scientific studies now of, I think it's over 170 ailments. Am I getting that correctly? Oh, okay, so many more studies than that that I was aware of. And virtually every ailment known to man, but it's the body itself that is healing. And in all of these studies, where they're now, medical science is now catching up with the hydrogen, they find 0 negative side effects. with the exception of if you have a cold, for example, and you have a virus in the lungs, and you're inhaling, the virus likes the gas and can actually become worse. So a person has to, like any therapy, apply it appropriately. So the proofs are, there are several scientific studies, and if you're looking for any particular one, like a bacterial infections, then you would go and look in the medical science. There's now thousands, or hundreds, soon to be thousands. The amount of studies have gone up logarithmically, and it's just amazing. All over the world, they're doing it now.
Okay. It would be possible to get some studies from you about what you say.
Studies. I don't provide the studies.
Yeah.
I provide the machine.
Yeah.
And
okay.
and so if you want to know the studies, then just go online and look up what you need.
So, okay.
Yep.
Is our next speaker here? Yeah. Where is he? Vladimir, are you here? Ah, you want to get mic'd?
Yeah.
Pardon? My age, I'm 61 years old. In just a few days. Yes.
So,
It's an honor to meet you, by the way. Thank you.
Yeah, okay.
Thank you.
So,
Okay?
So a big wow. Do you have any information on the lifespan of the fish? Because some organisms that thrive very fast also die very soon because of the increased metabolic rate. So it sounds like a fountain of youth, but maybe it should be studied systematically on fish or plants.
Yes, good point. As far as the plants and fish and animals so far that we've discovered, they live longer. So not only did they grow faster, and now I have some people, ladies who are pregnant actually and inhaling the gas. It's going to be interesting for me to see what happens to the gestation. But chickens, for example, when they were given this water, they doubled their egg production overnight. It was incredible. Now, when they continued getting the water, they went back to the regular egg production. But for a few days, it actually doubled the egg production. So there are things that happen. But as far as the fish and stuff go, they just seem to grow faster, but they only grow to the size that they would normally if they were an adult, and then they live a longer lifespan. The plants, the animals, everybody. And so my studies, for example, using the hydrogen, are showing a 30 to 50% life extension. So it's pretty amazing. Again, it comes back to nutrition. Hydrogen is our most important macronutrient. And we're not doing any magic here. We're just giving the bodies what they need, which they normally don't get in such a concentrated form.
yeah, okay.
Yes?
I wanted to make a comment. I and someone else tried the Brown's grass inhaling last night.
Yes.
And we tried the machine that had different frequencies. It was made from different frequencies.
Yes.
The first frequency that was tried, the other at 432, the other person really got a very strong beneficial effect almost immediately.
Yes.
And then I tried the 528 first, then went to 432. At 432, I started to get, my throat started to be itchy, and then I got shortness of breath. But at 528, I felt it was very good for me. So the 432 was not good for me. So I did have a negative side effect, but the 528 I thought was very good for me.
Yes.
So I just wanted to point that out.
Yes. So it wasn't the gas that was giving the negative side effect. It was the frequencies. Exactly. And that's one thing that we did, or I did, because I could, is I made the machine so that they could vary the frequency, because even though I don't understand all the health benefits of frequencies, I do know they exist. And then people who do understand, they can adjust the machine, and it does imprint the frequencies on the water, and the frequencies are read by the body, and they do things. And in some of these lectures that I've seen, these people, it's absolutely fascinating, all the different things that can happen. So yes, you can, but you have to be careful, because it can go both ways. If you get the wrong frequency, you can be less helpful.
Quick question.
Yes.
Has anyone done a comparison between hydrogen gas and Brown's gas?
Yes. Now, not officially, and I'm gathering that evidence. See, what happens in all these hundreds of studies that have been done, a lot of them were done with pure hydrogen, let's say from bottles, or PEM technology, which separates the hydrogen and oxygen gases. So they were getting the pure hydrogen. But many of them, about 25% so far as I discovered, were actually using Brown's gas. So I'm now sorting through the scientific studies, I'm having people do it for me, and separating out the ones that have already been done using Brown's gas, and then I can compare, like say, a wound or whatever to healing, a Brown's gas study to the straight hydrogen studies, but it has been done, they just didn't know they were doing it. Thank you.
Thank you very much.